Today, I'd like to talk about something terrible that happened here in the United States of America 11 days ago. On September 10th, today's September 21st, 2025. Something terrible that happened, and something that is so shocking that the event has reverberated around the world, where people just about everywhere are talking about it. And that was the horrible, senseless assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. He was a Christian. He had a wife and 2 kids that he adored, and he had loving parents. And an evil person full of hatred took Charlie Kirk's life simply because Charlie Kirk disagreed with that person's views, both spiritually and politically. What happened is a tremendous loss for our country and for the world, but it's also been an inflection point really in our nation's history. We're talking about something that shocked the world as much as JFK's assassination and Martin Luther King's assassination did. Charlie Kirk was, from everything that I've seen personally, from watching hundreds of clips of him debating students on college and university campuses throughout the United States and in Europe, actually, in England. By every metric, Charlie Kirk was a good, honest man who respected others and loved Jesus Christ and loved the United States of America. And it was because of these things that he was taken from us. And if another thing that has come out of this is that democratic hatred has just erupted, unfiltered. The amount of vitriol and hatred from the left, the attacks on Charlie Kirk have been absolutely disgusting. Democrats, in particular, Democrat politicians have been horrible. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar are 2 examples of the vitriol and hatred that just exploded right after Charlie Kirk's death. I'll be honest with you. I'm ashamed of the fact that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is of Puerto Rican descent like I am. I'm ashamed. And Ilhan Omar, it goes without saying that she is just oozing with vitriol and hatred. As a matter of fact, let's go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's remarks right now so you can see for yourself what I'm saying.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. a man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake, who after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant, and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working, quote, working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution.
And if that wasn't disgusting and horrible enough, here is what Representative Ilhan Omar had to say about Charlie Kirk.
Obviously, this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what
death.
I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
Now you see what I'm talking about. And if anything, the Charlie Kirk's murder has brought out the inner feelings of Democrats and liberals. It's like roaches coming out of the woodwork. It's like the hatred, the vitriol, just dripping from these people. They just couldn't wait to say enough horrible things about Charlie Kirk. And quite frankly, it's disgusting to watch. And the tragic thing about this all is that these people who are spewing all this hatred believe that conservatives and Republicans are the ones that are full of hate. They are so blinded to their own hatred that they don't see it. It's just the craziest thing ever. You know, when you read history and you read about Christian history and all the Christians that were martyred in the past, the ones that gave their lives in the Colosseum, for example, rather than renounce Jesus Christ, they were slaughtered, often by wild animals, just the craziest stuff, the craziest, most evil stuff. And we're living through that all over again. I mean, to see this happen right before our eyes, it's quite amazing. And you know, when I first heard that Charlie had been shot, you know, I heard it on the radio, somebody saying that Charlie had been shot, but they just said Charlie. And you know, my first thought was Charlie Sheen, you know, because he's a famous actor who I think is really funny. But you know, so I'm thinking Charlie Sheen, and then you know, I kept listening, and then I found out that it was Charlie Kirk, and I was just in shock. And then you know, I heard I was listening to the radio because I was driving, and somebody said that the video of him being assassinated was online, and it was all over the place. So when I got home, I looked for it and I couldn't find it. So I called my son, who's 23, and of course he found it on Instagram immediately and sent it to me. And when I saw it, I was so angry. It was the same kind of the anger that I felt, the same kind of visceral anger that I felt when the hijackers crashed their planes into the Twin Towers on 9/11. It was that same type of just terrible anger, and then slowly, after a couple of days, the anger started to subside, and I just, felt terrible for Charlie Kirk's wife and his children, who'll never be able to see their dad, grow up with their dad. They'll just see him on video clips. And imagine, and Charlie Kirk's parents, what they're going through. And the guy was only 31 years old. And, if anything, it has showed us the difference, the black and white difference between the left in this country politically and the right. It has showed us that one side seems to feed on hatred, the left, because video after video of people like Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, not only that, but just regular people online saying the most horrible, vicious things, people dancing around, and many people, hundreds, have been fired from their jobs for saying terrible things online, and recording themselves. Students have been expelled for mocking Charlie Kirk and his death. It's just been an amazing thing to see, and I think that it's been a real awakening for conservatives who are more reserved and usually hold it back, hold back their emotions. I think that it's been a wake-up call for conservatives that we are in a war, in a spiritual war, and obviously a physical war, because they physically killed Charlie Kirk. That we are in a terrible war to save our country and to save our children. My God, this has, at first I felt terrible for Charlie Kirk. And then it came to me slowly, the realization came to me after seeing the outpour of support and love from America, that this was a real pivot point in America, where people had to choose sides. Either you're going to side with the left, with transgenderism, with gender affirming care, which I call gender mutilation care for children, on having to decide whether you're for men, biological men playing in women's sports and using women's locker rooms and undressing in front of women, whether you're going to side with socialism or whether you're going to side with the right, which is against all those things. All those things are horrible and vile and totally against God and all the things that Jesus Christ espoused and that we believe in. It's been really an eye-opener for me. And I think that America is finally, or that conservatives have finally joined this war for the salvation of our country. And I believe that we will win. And now, if anything good has come from this, is that conservatives know that we are in a real battle and we better fight like hell. Or risk losing our country, or risk losing our children. If anything, thank you, Charlie Kirk. Thank you. You have lit a fire under conservatives, and in effect, you've awakened, to borrow a phrase from World War II, you've awakened a sleeping giant. And Charlie Kirk, we love you. We're going to protect your family. We're going to take care of your family. And we're going to make sure that your message never dies. That open and free dialogue between the left and the right is maintained. And that we will fight for the things that you fought for. And not necessarily me because of my age, but that young people who have come out of everywhere, who are pouring out support for you and love for you. It's those young people that are going to carry your torch. And they're doing it. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. Love you, Charlie Kirk. And may God bless your family forever.